At his bachelor party, my fiancé and his friends mistreated his female best friend, leading me to cancel our wedding. Later, I learned he had cheated and there was video evidence. I'm at a loss about what to do. I'm 28, working in finance, and my fiancé, Alex, also 28, has had a best friend named Danny since they were 4 years old. Danny, who is also 28, is a wonderful and respectful person who has never overstepped boundaries with Alex or their other two friends, Marcus and Daniel. The group is incredibly close. Danny is openly gay and has always embraced her identity confidently. Although she is very much feminine, she prefers casual attire like jeans and t-shirts over traditionally feminine clothes. Her lean, tall frame and short hair contribute to her being one of the guys. This past weekend, we celebrated Alex's bachelor party, which included Danny, Marcus, Daniel, and two other friends of Alex. The party was held in a popular coastal town known for its lively bachelor and bachelorette parties, albeit without any strip club. They booked a stay at a bed and breakfast, with activities like scuba diving and kayaking planned. The first night, which included dinner at a restaurant, my ex was present when my brother and I arrived to drop off his belongings. He simply asked if this meant we were done, to which my brother firmly replied yes, questioning if he expected any different response. My ex's father intervened, instructing him to stay quiet, and asked my brother to tell me to contact him regarding the wedding cancellation. I have no intention of reaching out to his father. Currently, my parents are overseeing the cancellation of the wedding, and my cousin, who is a lawyer, has offered his expertise and advice during this time. I've been busy separating our finances, including our joint bank and savings accounts. My brother assisted me in transferring all my funds to my personal accounts. It's truly a chaotic situation. I attempted to contact Danny, but she's not ready to speak to anyone yet. I sent her a text to let her know I'm here for her and that I've ended things with Alex. She hasn't responded, and honestly, I don't expect her to given her current state. Daniel visited me today and stayed for 3 hours offering his support. There's much I wish I could say, but I must be cautious not to jeopardize any potential legal proceedings. It has come to light that there are 2 videos of the incident. One was recorded by Jeb, one of the friends involved. Although parts of the footage are chaotic, the final moments are quite clear and incriminating. Additionally, the owners of the rental property are involved now and have their own footage, but I can't disclose more about that. After leaving my place, Marcus informed the wives of the involved friends about what had occurred. Jeb's wife has been particularly cooperative and has since separated from him. The other man's wife has also left him. It seems things are unfolding as many hoped, though it's grimmer than Marcus initially described. Daniel shared something poignant with me. Before Danny embraced her current style, she had long hair and dressed more femininely, captivating all 3 of them during their teenage years. Alex took her rejection very personally, harboring hidden resentment for years. Daniel suspects that this act might have been driven by a desire for revenge, a chilling thought if true. Meanwhile, Alex continues to bombard me with countless texts, which I've chosen to ignore. Alex told me that his father advised him to stop texting me, but he admitted he couldn't bring himself to do it. I haven't responded or blocked him. Following the counsel I received, it's incredibly tough, and I'm uncertain about how everything will unfold. Apologies for any errors in my message. I'm not in the best state right now. If there's more to share, I'll update again when possible. Update 2, Sept 12, 2024. Today, I received a call from Danny. Daniel has been a constant presence, and I suspect he knew she was preparing to reach out. There's much more to the story than initially understood. The first night went as I previously mentioned, but the next day, Alex, Jeb, and their friend opted out of scuba diving with Danny, Daniel, and Marcus. Danny, nursing a severe hangover, quit after an hour and returned to the Airbnb. Upon entering the living room, she was shocked to find the 3 men involved in sexual activities with 2 women who, as Jeb angrily revealed, were escorts. He demanded she leave, citing the cost of their arrangement. Disturbed, Danny left for the boat and confided only in Marcus about what she had witnessed. Later, when everyone returned to the Airbnb, Alex pleaded with her not to tell me, dismissing it as his final fling before marriage. Disgusted, Danny confronted him, asserting that he was not free to betray our relationship. She was uncertain about how to proceed. Marcus persuaded her to stay another night, explaining that he and Daniel were seeing the 2 women they met the previous night again, and since Daniel was her ride, she would have to wait until he was available to leave due to the lack of public transport. So, it was not just Alex. The others were complicit too. Marcus had informed their wives that morning, but chose to delay telling me, knowing I was already overwhelmed. The details of the assault were more severe than Marcus initially described. While Alex did not participate beyond stripping her, he did nothing to intervene. Danny mentioned she suspected Alex might have been under the influence of hallucinogens earlier in the day, though she couldn't be certain. Ultimately, Marcus and Daniel did come to her aid, but by then, the situation had escalated significantly. Once Danny reached her parents' home, she immediately reported to the police. The Airbnb owners also reported the incident independently after reviewing their security footage. Now, all three men are facing the repercussions of their actions. Danny apologized for not leaving and telling me everything immediately as she had wanted. She's still very distraught, and I didn't want to add to her distress. Since I'm unlikely to be needed in any legal proceedings, I've taken the step to block Alex and his parents, and the wedding has been canceled. I'm now beginning the process of separating our finances. However, I'm grappling with a strong feeling of anger towards Marcus. It feels as though he didn't truly care about my well-being. He prevented Danny from informing me about the situation right away so he could continue his encounter with the woman he met. He's expressed guilt, recognizing that if they had left earlier, Danny might not have been assaulted. Moreover, he didn't extend the courtesy of telling me about Alex's infidelity immediately like he did with the other wives that morning. It's clear he wasn't sparing my feelings considering he didn't fully disclose the extent of the attack. Danny is still uncertain whether Alex was merely a bystander or was waiting for his turn. I should have been informed immediately, not forced to hear such painful details from Danny, making an already difficult conversation even harder for her. Daniel was unaware of the escorts and didn't realize Marcus hadn't shared the full story of what happened when they intervened. Throughout this ordeal, Daniel has been my steadfast support. I need some perspective. Is it justified to feel angry at Marcus, or is my anger misplaced? My feelings towards Alex are purely of anger now. I've been in constant contact with Marcus, who is already back at work, communicating through texts and occasional calls. He even came over last night, but I couldn't bring myself to open the door. Daniel assures me that whatever I'm feeling is valid, though I suspect he might be just trying to soothe me. At this point, I'm questioning who I can trust. I no longer need to maintain any contact with Alex and believe the case will progress without my involvement. I'm considering telling Daniel that I need a break from him, Marcus, and our circle of friends. While Danny and I have agreed to stay in touch, I doubt our relationship will ever be as close as it once was. My best friend, whom I finally confided in, believes I should distance myself from the entire group to move forward, and my parents agree, viewing it as essential for my healing. However, my brother feels that Daniel has been exceptionally supportive and argues against cutting him off. It seems they all come as a package, though now without Alex, of course, I'm torn between gratitude and the need for a fresh start. Maybe it really is all or nothing. What should I do? I feel a clean break might be the right path. Update 3, new update SEP-23, 2024. I've hesitated to write this update, but am back because I need more advice and a fresh perspective. The comments so far have been quite helpful. Thank you. I'll keep this concise. Surprisingly, Danny and I have grown much closer. We talk daily and message constantly. It's a connection I hadn't anticipated but truly cherished. She's expressed the need for a good straight friend right now, jokingly, but honestly, she's been an incredible support to me amidst her own struggle. I felt guilty for sharing our story here, as telling mine meant revealing hers, but she was supportive of it. She's considering revealing her identity during the trial, wanting the public to know what happened to her. Danny has left her job, moved back with her parents permanently, and started therapy. She's just managing to get by, more surviving than living, but her strength is astounding. The legal proceedings are slow, but Marcus was informed that he won't face assault charges for defending Danny. I returned to work at a small startup where things have been difficult. Oscar, a coworker who's friendly with Marcus and my brother, and who shares the martial arts dojo with us, has made the environment slightly uncomfortable with his pity, which I find less bearable than sympathy or empathy. Nonetheless, it's preferable to staying idle at home. Daniel respected my request for space and has proven himself to be genuinely considerate. Despite the close bond, there's nothing romantic between Daniel and me. I'm not in the right mental state for a relationship, and it will likely be a long time before I am. Daniel is simply a good person without any hidden agendas. We do text occasionally, and he maintains frequent contact with Danny, offering her support as well. Recently, I received a letter from Alex. He wrote that he had held on to hope until I blocked him, but losing that contact left him distraught. In the letter, he attempted to explain his actions, claiming he was pressured into engaging with the escorts and limited his involvement to receiving oral sex. According to him, the other two pushed for more, but he resisted and now regrets even the minimal participation. He acknowledged his anger towards Danny stemmed from her ultimatum about confessing the cheating to me, or she would. He admitted knowing how wrong his actions were and expected that I would end our relationship if I discovered his infidelity, which led him to make reckless decisions while under the influence of substances he couldn't even recall. His recollection stops at removing Danny's shoes, claiming he remembers nothing beyond that due to being drunk and drugged. His letter was an appalling read for me, filled with excuses but lacking any real accountability. I've decided not to respond to him at all. Any future correspondence from him will go straight to the trash. Although I've started therapy, progress feels slow and uncertain at this stage. This leaves me dealing with my feelings towards Marcus. He's aware of my anger and seems eager to resolve our issue. My anger towards him is significant, though not as intense as my feelings towards Alex. It's challenging to not resent him for persuading Danny to stay that night. Deep down, I recognize Marcus was overwhelmed that morning, but had I known the full extent of the events, I wouldn't have been there when Alex returned. I believe Marcus owed it to me to disclose everything, as I was the one who had to confront Alex alone. Although I know I should listen to what Marcus has to say, finding the willingness to do so is incredibly difficult. How can I move past this turmoil? I want to resolve things with Marcus even if we never return to being friends. Knowing my decision to cut him off is negatively affecting him weighs heavily on me. He did rescue Danny and has been vigilant in checking on her, which shows his good side. Yet, I can't shake off the feeling that he wasn't entirely noble that weekend. It's confusing. In therapy, we've primarily focused on my experiences with Alex, so I haven't broached the subject of Marcus yet. I'm seeking advice on how to approach this situation. I've thought about giving it more time, but Marcus's mental health is deteriorating, and I worry that avoiding him might be exacerbating his condition. How can I find the courage to just meet with him and listen to his side? Why am I harboring so much anger towards him? How can I overcome this? I don't want to feel this resentment. The exhaustion from maintaining this anger towards both him and Alex is overwhelming, and I desperately want it to stop, at least towards Marcus. This weekend, which was supposed to be my wedding weekend, I'll be visiting Danny. We're planning a Lord of the Rings marathon, and her mom is making a cheesecake. It's a much-needed break. My family has been incredibly supportive, but it's really Danny who's been my pillar through this storm. Edit. I need to clarify, it wasn't an Airbnb where everything happened, but a privately rented house. I had mistakenly thought it was. Next story. After proposing to my girlfriend, she drastically changed. New friends appeared. She tried to steal my stuff, and her attitude completely flipped. Story 2. I, a 32-year-old male, proposed to my 30-year-old girlfriend about a month and a half ago. It felt like one of our happiest moments, but almost immediately her demeanor changed. I thought I was familiar with all her friends, yet one day I returned home to find 6 women I had never met before, introduced to me by Sharon. I found it odd that I was only meeting these friends now, considering I had already met Sharon's 2 closest friends, Michelle and Octavia, who were notably absent. Over a year and a half ago, Sharon had mentioned she wanted to be sure about our relationship before introducing me to her inner circle. I thought this was unusual, especially since it was a weeknight and they swiftly consumed a considerable amount of my wine collection. Although Sharon still maintained her own place, she spent so much time at mine that it nearly felt like she lived here. However, their departure, leaving behind 4 empty bottles of rosé, struck me as incredibly disrespectful. When I brought up the issue of uninvited guests during the week, Sharon dismissed my concerns quite casually, almost brushing me off. In the following weeks, Sharon frequently went out with these women, bringing them over to my place twice unannounced and once to appease me, as she put it. Each visit, they treated me more like a servant than a host, gesturing with their empty wine glasses for refills. After their 4th visit, I firmly decided to invest in a locked wine rack, to which Sharon retorted that I was no fun. Things escalated when Sharon suggested a dinner with her friends to smooth things over, claiming we had gotten off on the wrong foot. The dinner was uncomfortable. The 6 of them interrogated me about my life, my home, my career, yet dodged any questions I asked. The conversation took a troubling turn when they brought up modern relationship dynamics, including polyamory and maintaining friendships with exes. Topics Sharon and I had previously agreed were off limits. given her staunch views on monogamy and not keeping exes in our lives. To my astonishment, Sharon suggested we keep an open mind about these issues, completely contradicting her earlier stance. The evening culminated in an awkward moment when the bill arrived and Sharon slid it towards me, suggesting we split it together. I objected, and the situation devolved into a minor argument. I ended up placing enough cash for my share on the table and walked out, leaving them to handle the remainder. In the days following, Sharon repeatedly called me toxic and fragile. Whenever I confronted her, she would backtrack, offering apologies and attributing her remarks to stress at work. It's unbelievable. We haven't even started planning the wedding yet. The most shocking incident occurred this Monday. While at work, I received an alert from my Nest doorbell and saw Sharon and one of her new friends arriving at my house. They entered and then left with my golf clubs, a valuable gift from my father. Sharon lending them out without asking me was completely unacceptable. I immediately called Sharon, demanding that she and her friend return the clubs. Sharon tried to gaslight me, claiming I had promised to lend the clubs to her friend's boyfriend. I corrected her, stating that the value of the clubs made their unauthorized removal a serious offense and gave them an hour to bring them back before I would involve the police. Despite her insistence that she had my permission, they returned with the clubs less than 45 minutes later. The doorbell camera caught her friend disrespectfully flipping it off as they left the clubs, carelessly thrown on the living room floor. When I confronted Sharon about her actions, she tried to turn the conversation to my supposed toxicity. I dismissed her excuses and expressed my regret for the proposal, given her recent behavior. This seemed to alarm her, and she reverted to claiming stress from work as the cause of her actions. I didn't accept her explanation this time and asked for both the engagement ring and her house key back, suggesting we discuss our relationship further over the weekend. She tearfully pleaded with me not to end the engagement, insisting it was all just stress-related. I reiterated that we would talk more over the weekend. After she left, I had my house rekeyed as a precaution. Since then, Sharon has been sending me constant messages declaring her love and apologizing, claiming she only wanted to impress her close friends with our relationship. Meanwhile, the same friends have bombarded me with messages calling me toxic and fragile, accusing me of not being man enough for Sharon or secure enough to handle her friendships. Friends who have known Sharon and me throughout our 2-year relationship are stunned by her transformation, suggesting that something must be missing from the story or that I'm omitting detail. The feedback I'm getting suggests I must have done something to provoke her friend's behavior, with some hinting that I might have been the problem at some point. I'm finding it overwhelming to manage all these perspectives. Comments where OP has replied, commenter, I bet he hasn't seen Octavia and Michelle anymore. They served their purpose and now the ex is too stressed from work to meet both of her friends. OP. Actually, I did message Michelle on Facebook last night. I asked her about the 6, and she disclosed that she, Octavia, and Sharon are cousins who grew up together. Michelle admitted she isn't fond of the 6, but didn't elaborate further. Commenter. Your friends are idiots and triggered. Nah, nobody normal comes to someone's house uninvited and drinks a ton of the person's wine without permission. OP. True, they've known Sharon for 2 years and she never behaved like this before. I'll cut them some slack for now. Commenter. Away understanding 34, 2 years, and she didn't introduce you to these friends. She knows their trouble and how she acts around them. She performed quite the act to secure the ring, and once she thought she had you, her true colors emerged. OP. Unless I'm missing something, I'm definitely not the a-hole. You're right, I'm not toxic or fragile. I have standards. What Sharon did with the restaurant incident and the golf clubs was toxic. It seems she wanted to demonstrate control over me, ensuring I'd tolerate whatever she and her friends. I wouldn't give her another chance to exploit me. No one who loves you would treat you this way, whether friends are involved or not. Update September 14th.